It's popped up. Boone, Rose, they'll have a play. Boone dropped it and Rose caught it. Rose was right there. It popped out of his glove and Rose made the play. Give me an idea as we look at Boone approaching the dugout. He picks it up. How much Pete Rose hustled. He came over to help out if he needed the help.
Hello again, this is Mike and I am the Sports History Collector. Today I have a special episode that I want to dedicate to all of the Phillies fans we have in the community. I'm talking about Ray from Philly, Ed Weskergriff, Mike O, and Alex Bowman 53, just to name a few. Today we're going to be looking at Game 6 of the 1980 World Series, and more specifically the Bob Boone bobble Pete Rose catch, and why it was not only important, but also amazing. As you saw in the lead-in video, it was top of the ninth with the Royals down 4-1, but they had the bases loaded with only one out and Frank White at the plate. White popped the ball up foul towards the dugout, and both catcher Bob Boone and first baseman Pete Rose went over to try and catch it. It was Boone's all the way, but it hit his glove and bounced out. But fortunately, the ever-alert and hustling Rose was there to catch it before it hit the ground for the second out. Leadoff hitter Willie Wilson was up next, and he struck out to end the game, with his then record 12th strikeout of the series. Yes, Willie was having a really bad series. Okay, you say, so what's so important about that one play? Well, the one thing that most baseball players know is that you don't ever give away outs. If Rose doesn't hustle over there, then Frank White gets another chance. White was having a so-so series, but he was a solid hitter and had been the 1980 ALCS MVP, so anything could happen with another swing. If he walks, then a run scores. If he gets a hit, probably 2 runs score, and move other runners into scoring position. That would leave Wilson with one out, which would allow him to maybe bunt the run in, or sacrifice fly, or maybe even he gets a hit. After all, he was an excellent leadoff man and did hit over 300 in the ALCS, so anything is possible. But let's say he strikes out like he actually did. That leaves UL Washington, George Brett, Hal McRae, and Amos Otis coming up. And all of them had a really great series, all hitting well over 300. And I believe Amos Otis was hitting over 400. Add all that to the fact that relief pitcher Tug McGraw was not looking his best, and their best pitcher Steve Carlton was already out of the game, and it could have been a recipe for a disaster, especially if the Royals ended up winning and going to Game 7. So yes, this was a very important play. Now, why was it amazing? Well, let's look at the items from my collection, and one of them will answer the question. In the back, I have what might be my all-time favorite baseball picture. This was shot from the dugout and shows the moment Bob Boone bobbled the ball with Pete Rose ready to save the day. The photo is signed by both of them in blue Sharpie and really looks great on the wall. Also, there on the attached to the picture there, I have the 1980 gate receipt from Game 6 of the series. It's a very easy to get and inexpensive souvenir of that great series. In no particular order, in the front, there's 1980 Kellogg's Larry Boa. Boa hit over 300 for the series and was a good, always a solid defender. A 1980 Kellogg's, Steve Carlton, who won 24 games during the regular season and went 1-0 in the ALCS and 2-0 in the World Series. I have a 1980 Topps Bob Boone, a 1980 Topps Mike Schmidt, who was the series MVP. The 2 large cards are 1980 Topps 5x7 Superstars cards of George Brett and Amos Otis. Those came out in 1980. There's also, I believe the set was 60 cards. Not real popular. In fact, you can still get them today. You can get a box of them pretty darn cheap. They also came out in 1981, and I think there was only 15 in that set. The difference in some of these cards, though, too, is some came out in gray backs and some came out in white backs. Last but not least, we have the 1981 Topps Pete Rose Record Breaker card. I picked the 81 card as opposed to the 80 because it shows why this was such an amazing event. Anyway, it celebrates the most consecutive 600 or more at-bat seasons. It was his 13th of 600 or more at-bat seasons, but actually he was real close to having 16 in a row, and those were at-bats. It does not tell you that a lot of those seasons he had over 700 plate appearances and played in every or almost every game with few days off. And that's the amazing part. All those years, all those games, and you count the 1980 season where he played every game of the regular season, every game of the playoffs, every game in the World Series, and he was still not only physically able to hustle at the end of Game 6, but also mentally tough enough to do it. A truly amazing testament to Rose's sheer will to win. A couple of tidbits about the series itself. This was the Phillies' first championship. They would have to wait until 2008 to win their second one, although I hear from a reliable source that this year will be their third. This was also the series that saw George Brett have to leave Game 2 due to hemorrhoids. He was able to have minor surgery the next day and even hit a home run in Game 3. He was famously quoted as saying that his problems were all behind him. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Game 6 of the 1980 World Series. Here's wishing good luck to the current Philly team, and I'll talk to you soon.
That never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is all sun's love in the spring.